Good morning, everyone. Appreciate everybody being here today. Welcome to our September 13th, 2022 Madison County Fiscal Court meeting. This time, call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, please call the roll.
Master Robinson.
Here.
Master Barger.
Here.
Master Tudor.
Here.
Master Botkin.
Present.
Judge Taylor.
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite Kevin Slimp up from Berea Baptist Church to lead us in a word of prayer, and I think to tell us about a community event coming up.
Yes, thank you very much. We have an Art for the Heart art show that our church is going to be welcoming the community to on October 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'll invite people to come in, and we'll have, it's approaching us between 120 and 130 works of art from our congregation members, all different types of art, all different types of media celebrating the goodness of God. It's totally free. We invite the community to come. Again, October 7th, 8th, and 9th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Hope to see you there. Would you please join me in prayer? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the exceptional beauty of this day. It's wonderful. We praise you for the way we see your creation reflect your glory. Help us to reflect your glory too. Thank you so much for this team, Lord. These dedicated men and women who are serving our community in such important ways and making such difficult and challenging decisions. Father, I ask that you would continue to give them wisdom and insight, and that you would help them to do what really is best for our community. Thank you for the sacrifices they make. Thank you for the hours of study and preparation they put into this. Father, thank you for the people of Madison County. Thank you for the privilege of being able to be part of this community. Thank you for how you love each and every one of us. And in the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Sheriff, if you will, lead us in the pledge.
If everyone would please stand and face our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and please be seated.
Thanks, Sheriff. Members of the court, next on our agenda is the approval of our previous meeting minutes. That meeting was on August the 23rd. I need a motion and a second to approve.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Master Robinson.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Tudor.
Yes.
Master Botkin.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Our treasurer's report is always at our fourth Tuesday meeting, so that'll be our next meeting. First order of business today is a proclamation recognizing Constitution Week, whereas it is the privilege and duty of American people to commemorate the 235th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America with appropriate ceremonies and activities. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore I, Reagan Taylor, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the County of Madison and the State of Kentucky and the Madison County Fiscal Court, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American, with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves. And we have here with us today Deborah Parsons from the Jemima Boone chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution. So, Ms. Parsons, if you'd like to, do you want to say a few words today? Yeah, sure, and then I'll present you the proclamation.
In the words of Thomas Jefferson, it is essential to have an educated populace in order to have free people. We feel that educating people about the Constitution is one of the best things we do. So far, we've gone through the county educating children in schools. Last night, I had a class with the Boy Scouts about the Constitution and the rights therein. And we feel that you all have been very kind in helping us. What we do is we give out on the courthouse lawn free constitutions to anyone who wants one. And so far, we've had a very good turnout, and we really appreciate that. But it is something that we find really essential.
That's right.
Jill's gonna tell y'all who.
All right, next on the agenda is second reading of ordinance 2022-09. This is a land use change, College Hill Road from C7 to R7 agricultural to UC1 single-family residential. Good morning, Bert.
Good morning, everybody. This is a second reading, as the judge said. This is ordinance 2022-09. I won't read the whole ordinance because I did read it at the first reading, but just to remind everybody, this is approximately 70 acres on College Hill Road in Waco, changing the zoning from R7 and C7 agriculture to UC1 single-family residential. There was a public hearing, and the Planning Commission recommended approval. Their finding of facts was that the proposed zoning classification is appropriate as it is consistent with the comprehensive plan for the following reasons: the character and area of the property due to the residential development in the area and its location within the urban corridor in the 2021 comprehensive plan. The character of College Hill Road has changed since the property was originally classified agriculture to one of a more residential nature. Development is desirable in the transportation corridors. The subject property contains the required infrastructure needed for residential development, and there is an established need for single-family residential lots in the county at this time. Planning Commission did make a recommendation to approve this zone change. There is a legal description of the property on the ordinance, and this ordinance will become effective upon second reading and approval by the fiscal court.
All right, thank you, Bert. At this time, for second reading of ordinance 2022-09, do I have a motion and a second to approve as recommended by the Planning Commission? I need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion. We need to get out here and discuss it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. So do we have any discussion?
Judge, as you know, this is my district, and I'm fairly familiar with College Hill, Waco. I've worked out there off and on and been magistrate for 8 years in that district, but I cut the back out there 30 years ago off and on, so I'm familiar with that road and going up that hill. The traffic flow is pretty heavy at the BP gas station, traffic light on 52. As we all know, traffic on 52 is just exponentially increasing every day. And we've got a school down there within a half a mile or a quarter of a mile from the crossroads there at the bottom of the hill at Waco. Is a congested area during school time. You go out there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, traffic's flowing pretty good. But my concern is the safety issue of the area. I just want to share with you some of the, give me just a second here. Here's some of the traffic counts from the Kentucky Department of Transportation. College Hill Road has almost 2,200 axle. That's 1,200 vehicles a day just up to Flint Road. Then it goes down to 800 axles, which is 400 vehicles. from Flint Road to the end of College Hill Road. So that's several vehicles right there. And I've got a report from the Kentucky State Police on the accidents on that area. The Kentucky State Police reports that from 2017 to now, there's been 67 accidents, and that's in the last 5 years, and 1 fatality. Most of those accidents were within a mile of first mile of College Hill Road. And I think there was a pickup truck last week turned over in the road up there. I had some of the other conditions. It was in a curve, straightaway, daylight. Most of them were in daylight. So this is a busy and heavy traffic road, and with less than 100 feet of entrance there, there's not much room to put a turn lane in that area. I just don't think this is a suitable situation for this many houses. If it was reduced, possibly the developer would agree to maybe one acre lots and put 50 to 60 houses in there. I would be for it, but for the safety situation at this point, I couldn't be for it, I don't think, Judge.
All right, any other magistrates?
So sewer's not at this property?
Not right now.
Well, and maybe we need, I mean, the next step to this is we're gonna hear from the applicant, or whoever they would like to speak, and then we'll have public comment. So, maybe we need to hear from them first, because I just wanna make sure there's not any speculation of, I mean, this is a zone change.
Right.
And so I don't know what's really been presented, or if anything's really been presented, Bert, from an exact development.
No.
Yeah. So maybe at this time, Stuart, would you like to come up?
Yes, Judge, please. You'll have to represent which podium must be kept.
That one's fine.
Judge Taylor, members of the court, and other folks present, Stuart Oles, I represent the applicant in this case, who is Shannon Renfro, asking for a zone change from agricultural to UC1, which is single-family residential. I guess first point to make is UC1 has no density designation to it, okay? It just means that this farm is appropriate for residential development. Mr. Barger asked if sewer was at this property. It is not at this point in time. I understand it is at the vet clinic at Waco, but it is not up College Hill Road at this point in time. Having heard several questions, concerns, and comments, I'd like to circulate a few things that I printed out of your comprehensive plan that you adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. First question, if I'm you and I'm looking at this, is do we have a need for additional development? So the first page that I've given you there, last year you all adopted a new comprehensive plan, and I'm sure everybody knows what that is and what goes into that. That showed that Madison County grew from 2010 to 2020 by roughly 10,000 people, or 11.8%. Your comprehensive plan proposes that growth will continue into the future. So I think, in my mind at least, there's not a question that there is a need for housing in the area. I've got Jennifer Vickers with me, who's going to talk a little bit about that just in a few minutes. So if we need housing, we need developments, and we need houses to put these folks in. When you all developed your comprehensive plan last year, you decided the areas of the county that you wanted to designate in your urban corridor. And this particular farm is in that area. The areas along Irvin Road coming out there. And I've got a map to circulate to show you where that is. On here, you can see 977 is College Hill Road. There's a large yellow area highlighted on 977. That is the Waco Heights development. This farm, if you haven't seen it, is just before you get to Waco Heights on the opposite side of the road. So well within that urban corridor area. Urban corridor means that you all have decided that this area has the infrastructure, the roads, the water lines, whatever sewer needs to be done, all of the things that are necessary to provide for the growth that Madison County is going to have. It is one of the areas that you think growth would be appropriate. This farm is about a half a mile up College Hill Road when I turn off of 52. On the right-hand side of the road. Second page of this little packet that I've circulated to you is part of your comprehensive plan also. And it talks about the areas where you think growth is going to occur and needs to occur. And I've highlighted in there a section that says Kentucky 52 east of the city of Richmond near the Bluegrass Army Depot and towards Waco. The county also expects to see new growth and development. The county is planning for mixed-use growth in this area, concentrating residential uses and some commercial uses and convenience goods for the local residents. That's part of the finding that you all made last year when you adopted your comprehensive plan. That, again, this was one of the areas where that growth ought to occur. Third page in this little packet is, again, comes out of your comprehensive plan.
Hey, Stuart, if you don't mind, will you stay at the mic just so that people that are watching?
The minutes are recorded from the mic, and there are.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. I know in a courtroom you're probably used to walking around. Yeah.
I am, and I apologize.
Yeah.
This little packet, the third page of that, based upon studies that you all have had done, traffic reports in the areas, et cetera, it lists, I think I counted them, and the 18 roads in the county that have the greatest number of collisions. I'm not sure exactly what period of time that is, but I've looked at that. College Hill Road and/or 977 are not on your list where the greatest number of collisions have occurred. Okay, so this is not a road where you've indicated, or any of your studies have indicated, that that's a high traffic or a high risk area. And just again, a reminder, we're only talking about less than half a mile off of Kentucky 52. You turn off 52, basically you go to the top of the hill, College Hill Road, and not far past the top of the hill on the right is this farm. You know, I've thought about this safety issue in questions, and I've tried to compare this road with some of the other rural roads in the area. 52, and I think I made this comment before, is one of the best roads we got in the county. It's busy, but it's one of the best roads, probably partially because of CSEP, that we've got. It's out to Moberly, as you all know, it's 5 lanes with shoulders on each side. Beyond that, it's 2 lanes with nice level shoulders on each side. I happened to recognize as I was coming over this morning, I came 25. If I come 25, I've got 2 lanes with basically no shoulder. If I go out Speedwell Road, I've got 2 lanes with basically no shoulder. If I go Union City Road, Red House Road, US 25 north of town, I've got 2 roads with basically no shoulder. So the roads getting to this farm are about as good as the roads as we got in the county. So if we're going to have growth, it seems that this would be one of the areas that we think would be appropriate to do that. Also did a little looking myself at the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, and I'd like to circulate a few. I apologize, I didn't print enough of these to give to everybody, so I'm going to give these to Mr. Robinson and ask that he pass these down. Those came out of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet maps, and they show traffic counts, and I just picked 4 or 5 rural roads in the county. College Hill Road matches up exactly with what Mr. Tudor said. 2,711. As I understand that would be half that number of vehicles. But if I look at Speedwell Road, Union City Road, US 25 North, some of these other rural roads that I've talked about, every road that I picked and printed was higher in the number of traffic counts, with the exception of Jacks Creek Road, it was lower. So, almost 600 more for Speedwell Road, almost 600 more for Union City and some of those roads. So this road is no more heavily trafficked, in fact, a little less trafficked than some of the other rural roads where we have developments and developments occurring. So I think based upon the fact that you all have already found that this is in your UC1 area and what we see with regard to accidents, traffic flow, et cetera, this is appropriate. At this point in time, we don't know whether sewer will get to this property or not, okay? If you all approve this zone change, the developer will then begin working with your planning commission to try to put together a development plan to develop this. My guess is if the developer had to run sewer from Waco all the way to this farm and all the way through this farm himself with no partners, it wouldn't be economically feasible. He wouldn't be able to sell the lots at a price that he could make that work. I don't know that, but that's my guess, just knowing the cost of doing that. Maybe there are other people in the area who need sewer. Maybe the school needs sewer. Maybe there's other parties who might get that up there. But if you approve this, we're going to develop this in a way that's approved by your planning commission. We don't know what that's going to be in terms of density at this point. Whatever it is, it'll comply with all of your regulations in terms of roads, curb and gutter, collection basins, walking trails, all those kind of things. Be a very nice development. I think that's probably all I've got to say at this point in time. If you guys have questions of me, I'd be glad to answer any of those.
Any questions for Mr. Olds?
Stuart, do you know from the plans that maybe you have or haven't seen whether there will be a turning lane associated with that? Do you know that?
Until the decision is made about whether this zone change could occur, Mr. Renfro has not spent the money to have all of the engineering work and all those kind of things done that would be necessary to make that determination. Hasn't put together a development plan for what this is. The cost of all those, I'm sure you all know, are rather substantial. So first question is, we got to know is this farm appropriate to develop a residential area? And if so, then again, working with your planning commission, we'll do it in a way that they require.
Bert, I don't know where you're at. There you are. I don't know how. I think Transportation Cabinet, they normally approve turning lanes.
Yeah, they'll have to make an application for an
Application,
encroachment
yeah.
permit. I'm sure the state has criteria that they'll go by, the number of lots, site distances, everything that they go into their planning process, and based on whatever plans are submitted to them, they'll make the determination whether to require one turning lane both directions, or no turning lane at all. It'll be based upon the actual plans that are submitted to them.
And that's the state standard. That's how they do all developments. It's not just this one. It's any,
Yeah,
correct?
because it's state highway, they have the jurisdiction over the road.
Right. They approve the entrance, or, right?
That's right.
If you don't have any more questions of me, I have Jennifer Vickers with me. I asked her to come today just in case there was any question about Madison County's growth and the need for additional development and housing. I'd ask her to come to the podium and speak for just a minute about her thoughts about whether or not we need that.
So, quick question. This is a public hearing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Are we to administer oaths or any of that kind of stuff?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Curious. All right.
I verified that yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Vickers. I'm with Keller Williams Legacy Group. I've been an agent for 17 years. I do not represent the developer or any builders that may have interest in building in there. So this is just at,
Steve, scoot up to the mic.
Am I still
Get that
not
mic
loud
a little
enough?
closer. If you can't hear yourself on the speakers, they can't hear you out on the TV.
do I need to repeat what I just said?
Be a good idea, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Vickers. I hear myself now.
Yep.
And I am with Keller Williams Legacy Group. I've been an agent for 17 years. I do not represent the developer or any builders that have any interest in developing or building in that area, or any area actually. So I'm coming as just a real estate agent in general. I did some research last night. Currently, there are only, we're still at, the market is not like how it was in the past 2 years. As we all know, it's been a crazy market. It is slowing down, but there's still a shortage of houses on the market. New and existing homes, there's only 156 in just the Richmond and Waco area that are for sale. So, it's still a low inventory. How the days on the market is only 25 days. So it's just a quick sales is what the issue is. There are 27 new built homes, and again, this is only in Richmond and Waco. There's 27 new built homes, and only 7 of those are out in the county. So, there's 20 of them that are in the city limits. So if there's anybody that is wanting to purchase a home and take advantage of a VA loan or a rural housing loan, which is 100% financing, you can't get that in the city limits. You have to go outside the city limits. So, this is just an opportunity for them. Any questions or?
Members of the court, any questions? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. This is a second reading of an ordinance for a zone change, so at this time, this is when we would ask for, is there any public comment? And if you would, just come up to the podium and state your name. And you don't necessarily have to give your address of where you live, but maybe a general vicinity.
Oh, it's fine. I don't mind saying that.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Lorena Hall, and my husband Steve and I live at 373 Flint Road in Waco. The property we live on has been in our family for over 60 years. Today, I'm coming here not only as a representative for myself and my family, but for our community. First, I'd like to say that I'm not opposed to growth and development, not at all. However, I am opposed to growth that impacts the community negatively. I believe that approving this land ordinance change without a full understanding of what this development's going to look like is wrong, and it's not in the best interest of the citizens of Waco. I also will believe that approving this ordinance without fixing the current traffic issues, which I understand that's a state thing, but we're all in this together. Boy, I sound like a former somebody. Okay, I'm sorry. But we are in this together, and we should work together. And if we know that there's not a plan for it, then we don't need to add a burden. Yes, I agree, the landowner should be able to sell their land. However, selling is one thing. Asking for a zone change to sell their property and to a developer without the fiscal court and planning and zoning having specific knowledge of what the developer's plans are is another. Single-family housing can mean anything. We have no idea what that's going to look like. We hear what's proposed, but we don't know what. In all actuality, none of us know what that's going to look like. It can be a single wide. It could be a double wide. It could be a 5,000 square foot home. There is nothing stopping this land from being sold as farmland. We have people moving into the county all the time, and I think our little real estate agent said we have people that are moving here, and we do have a need. We have people that are buying up huge plots of land all the time just because they want to own land, and they're given enormous prices for it. So it can be sold as a whole tract, although it is multiple tracts. I'm sorry. Well, infrastructures. The existing infrastructures in Waco cannot support a large development. Sewer is a major concern. We were told at the planning and zoning meeting that if the lots were less than a quarter acre, then sewer would have to be available, which most of us already knew that. But sewer is over a quarter of a mile from this land. The Madison County Comprehensive Plan, adopted on November the 23rd, 2021, does not mention running sewer up College Hill anytime in the 3 to 10 year plan. It does mention running it to Waco Elementary, which has no connection to where this is, which it should go to Waco Elementary. And then in the 10 to 20 year plan, it is going to Bobby. Nowhere does it mention going up College Hill. And that should not be something that should just be pushed in there for the taxpayers to be footing the bill for someone else to make bukus off of it. I understand this would be the expense of the developer and should not be a taxpayer expense. Again, here we are as citizens and voters, wondering, are there going to be quarter-acre lots? Or are there going to be acre lots? What kind of houses are going to be on there? Basically, are there going to be houses sitting on top of each other with 4 times the number of cars traveling in that half a mile area, which is already inundated with traffic? Shouldn't we know if there's going to be deed restrictions in nice houses? Don't we as citizens have the right to know that prior to making a zone change? As I mentioned earlier, the road infrastructure is not prepared to handle the traffic it already has. Have you driven to Richmond and Waco lately? Have you driven that road? Have you seen what the intersection looks like at 52? People could say that's during rush hour. That is not just during rush hour. Go on a Saturday. Go on a Sunday. Look and see how backed up that traffic is. The traffic is horrible, and we're going to be adding traffic for App Harvest within the next few months. You all know how many jobs that place is going to produce, which is a good thing for Madison County. But you think of how many more cars are going to be on 52. Yes, I realize that's before you get to where Waco is, but that still adds to the traffic problem where cars are backed up to the Dollar General, from the Dollar General almost back up to Greens Crossing in the afternoon. So App Harvest is going to be adding jobs. The next phase of Dove Landing is in the process. And also the big, huge development that was approved 2 years ago by the fairgrounds. All those houses, 200-something houses with all the traffic from there on 52. Think about that. The people there did not want that. They got that. They got that. And now, when that's developed, they're going to have, and all of us are going to have the traffic from that. There's no plan in the next few years to fix this traffic problem. Yes, again, state road, state maintained, county responsible for what happens to their people. How can traffic on 52 handle this housing development, especially if it's going to be on quarter-acre lots, again, which we don't know. I did have a lot more about the traffic, but I think our magistrate said quite a bit about that. Traffic counts to Muddy Creek Bridge, 12,210 per day. Muddy Creek Bridge, 12,210. That's not, again, it's not counting what's getting ready to come in up there. This development, or this potential land zone change, is a half a mile, as was stated, from 52. But you got to think about it. All of those cars that are going to that development are going to be in that same horrible traffic that we're already experiencing. It has to pass that rezone. Can we say there's a shortage of houses? Yeah, we can say that. Drive down College Hill. Drive down College Hill, though, and look, I drove there on the way to church on Sunday. 5 or 6 houses down there available. Been sitting there for a while. The market is slowing down. The market is slowing down, and I'm glad to see it slowing down. Each morning, traffic is backed up at Waco. When school is in session, it's backed up at least a quarter of a mile to from the stop signs. On 52, from the light at Marbury, traffic can be backed up for just before the curve at Muddy Creek and Sweetwater. It's almost a mile, people. In the afternoon, when school is in session, the traffic is backed up from the back of the school entrance down Fike Road on the old Waco 52 loop, and then for at least another quarter of a mile both ways. Well, not both ways. If you're coming up Fike Road, it does get backed up there, but you have no way to get around cars that are sitting there in traffic. Green space and water runoff. Some of the houses in Waco Heights are already experiencing floodwaters coming up in the back because of the creek which runs through this property. Is that going to make it worse? Are they going to end up getting flooded in their house, just not up to their back doors? How will changes impact the water runoff? Will there be more causing flooding in these houses? Or we also are very well known for having underground water aquifers. I have several on our property. Some of which flow from this area and run to nearby streams and creeks that farmers use for livestock. On our farm, we have a waterfall that it never stops flowing, and it is fed from areas like this that come across Flint Branch and down to the back of my farm. I would hate for a development to come in and stop a waterfall that's been flowing for hundreds of years. Never stops. Never stops. It makes me question how changing this area is going to impact these types of things. We as citizens brought these and other concerns before planning and zoning, hoping that that would make a difference in their decision. We are told that this proposed land zone change is in the urban corridor. Not all of this farm is in the urban corridor. Not all of it. And I'd like to have that noted. We keep saying urban corridor or urban corridor, downwind from toxic fumes, but urban corridor. But it's not. This whole farm is not in this urban corridor. And if you get onto the map, onto the Madison County website, and you go to the map and you do that, you can see that it does not all fit into the urban corridor. So, in conclusion, I understand that the traffic issues need to be taken care of by the state. However, it is not in their plan to do so. Instead of adding to the community's problems, I ask you to take a stand and say, Waco does not need housing. It needs infrastructure fixed, and then housing should be addressed. I would like to ask you to look deeply into the concerns that have been brought up and the ones you will hear today by citizens, and ask yourselves as a county, are we ready for this zone change and what it may potentially bring to this community? If I vote yes to this, do I have a vote later down the road in what the people of Waco will be stuck with as far as the development? I can answer that for every one of you and everybody in the audience. No, you won't. Because it does not come back to you, elected officials, for the final decision on what is put in our community. That is left with planning and zoning's appointed people. And I have no problem with appointed people. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying who's held accountable. Now is the time to be held accountable. You will be putting this in the hands of planning and zoning. I understand that the comprehensive plan is used as a guide for the entire county. But just because part of a tract of land fits into the urban corridor doesn't mean that it should be rezoned. I, like many other citizens, believe that the fiscal court and planning and zoning have written and approved the comprehensive plan with enough leeway to deny a zone request that is not in the best interest of the community. And finally, I would like to say, contrary to what we kept being told at planning and zoning, Waco is a farming community. Waco is a farming community. I do have pictures of the traffic I did bring with me that I can share. I would also like to say on our petition that we had it out there just in a week. I'm not able to drive. Had I been able to drive, I would have taken it to other places, and I probably would have gone door to door. But I'm not able to do that right now. So with that, we had 152 signatures in under a week. And finally, I'd like to say, I appreciate I appreciate all the work that goes into you. And I will tell you this. This has been an eye-opening experience for me. I taught 30 years, and I've learned a lot about government. I've learned a lot about how things operate, and I am going to be more involved. I am going to be more involved in what's going on in my area, because I can see how things happen and how things go by something that is worded in a way to where sometimes it can be used in ways that we as citizens don't agree with. But I think that's one, as the Constitution, that gives us the right to stand up and say our piece. Again, I thank you for your time and your consideration. Again, I beg you to look into your heart and think, is this what's right for Waco? Not what's right for money making, but what is right for Waco. And if it's not now, and we can get the roads fixed, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. All for that. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Hall. Appreciate it. Any other public comment? Sure.
I'm Merle Lakes, and my property joins Shannon's property, probably on the back side and on two sides, probably maybe a half a mile, I'm guessing. So this may sound like an echo, but from what other people have said, but I think the main thing here is safety. Within like the last month, I was going down the road and I seen a car spin out and tore down a mailbox. And I looked over and it was my granddaughter. She wrecked there. And this was been within a month. And so two family in the truck they was talking about turning over, that was my sister's companion. Happened like a week ago. And then one of the reasons he wrecked, there was a wreck there before he wrecked, and they hadn't cleaned the oil, and that caused him the wreck. But one thing they said at the zoning that I disagree with, this is sort of, to an extent, is like an S curve. And where a lot of the wrecks at is in the main steep part of the curve, but they also extend down. There's been telephone poles cut into there different times. But really, this curve, if you look at it, and I made it a point, I mean, I drive it all the time, that curve extends. It's not as steep where they want to do the development, but that curve extends through most of the frontage of the property that they're talking about developing. But I guess the thing that bothers me is it's a safety thing. So the zoning people say, well, you know, that's a state problem, the traffic problem. And if you guys say that's a state problem, but it's a safety problem, it shouldn't be about money, as the lady said. It shouldn't be about money. The most important thing should be about safety. And there's a lot of wrecks there. I'm not disputing what the lawyer said, but I know I live on that road. There's, like I said, within the last month, two people in my family. And then there's been others, and I hear ambulances and the sirens are cut off there about where Waco Heights is at, you know. And the other developments out at Mobley, that's, you know, someone said it'd be like 400 people working there at that tomato plant place, and then maybe I think there's a 100 house plan that's done been approved, and maybe a 200 house, that's 300. There's 400 houses, I think, that's been approved out there, from what I understand, what I've been told. And then maybe they're building a new school there. But we do have a safety problem. And a person should, I've always believed this, if it's your land, you should be able to do what you want to with it, if it don't affect the community and other people, you know. But this, you know, we're sitting here as a community telling you that there's a lot of wrecks there. And I agree with what the lady said also. The road should be fixed before the subdivision's there. And is there even room for a turning lane there? I don't see, unless they buy other property, how there would be even room for a turning lane there. And so it's number one, it should be a safety issue. And I would just say, and I know everybody here's got a job to do, and I want to respect that. But if you hear about a family getting killed there, and you approve this, is it going to be any guilt there? I mean, somebody. And I know I'm not saying that just to make people feel bad. And like I say, I know everybody has a decision to make, and I'm not against developing altogether. But this is a dangerous place to put a subdivision there with the wrecks that are already in the road. And I've never noticed that good of a shoulder on the College Hill Road. Maybe there's one there, but it's a pretty good road. But I know there's worse roads than it is. But the main thing is, it should be a safety issue, not a money issue, not what the sewer company's going to make if people hook up to it, not what the county's going to get in taxes. It should be about lives and a safety issue. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sure, Ricky? It's good to see you.
See you.
Hope you got your dove the other day.
Did.
Good.
Not very many, but I got
Yeah,
some.
yeah.
My name's Rick McKinney. I live on Fike Road, and y'all have to excuse me for reading, but I want to make sure I get everything
Sure.
that I want to say. So, I've come here today to share my thoughts on the proposed development on College Hill Road. As someone who will be directly impacted, you've heard talk about traffic, congestion, potential increase for crime, and we already have an overcrowded school. Those things are very important. You've also heard about how this area has seen some growth with a large subdivision right across the street from the proposed new development. But right now, I'd like to talk to you about our community and the people that this development would affect, and encourage you not only to consider what may be built, but what will be taken away. For example, my family farm is on Fike Road, not College Hill, but I'm affected as much by this proposed development as anyone else, and maybe more because it backs up to the back side of my property and on one side. And this property is where members of my family have made our homes for over 77 years. What is surrounded now by trees, a spring-fed creek, and quiet will be bordered on two sides by a subdivision. Now, this may sound selfish, but I'm not the only one being affected. There are plenty of other property owners just like myself that have made our homes in Waco away from traffic and crowded neighborhoods just to see our green spaces covered with more and more concrete. We love Waco because it's our home and we look out for each other, and that's what we're asking you to do now, is look out for us, the affected community. Growth is inevitable, I know, but too much growth in one small part of a community isn't good for anyone other than those who stand to profit financially. The potential developer doesn't live in Waco. He'll sell his lots, cash his check, and he'll go home, which is 30 miles away from Waco. I'm positive he isn't considering how those of us who do live in Waco will be affected, but as our magistrates and judge, you should be. That's what we elect you guys to do, and it's your responsibility to represent us, the people of Madison County and the Waco community. We're telling you that we don't want this new development. Our magistrate has told you we don't want this new development. It's our community, our homes, and our lives, and I'm asking on behalf of those here today and those who couldn't be here, please vote to keep our community rural and this area zoned agricultural. Thank you.
Anyone else? Bert, if you could, I think you got some emails.
Yeah, I've got a few emails that came into your office, George, I think maybe for people that couldn't be here today. I'll just want to make sure that they get their comments on the record, so I'll just kind of give you, a lot of it's the same things we've already heard, but I want these people to feel like they've been heard through their email comment. This is from Martha and John Sterniolo of Bend Road in Waco. They're concerned with the safety of the community, increased emergency response time, longer response times in emergencies, the ability to move agriculture equipment safely due to the increased traffic. This is from Darla Lakes. She doesn't give an address, just says Waco. She's concerned with the numerous accidents that occur in the area, greater risk for more accidents in the future, concerned about the additional homes and the increased traffic from the tomato plant. I guess that's App Harvest on Speedwell. This is Amanda Riley from Fike Road, concerned about the current amount of wrecks now on a daily basis, the size of Waco Elementary increasing, the traffic and the parking around the elementary school, the increased number of kids and family that would be going to Waco if this was approved, and the fact that there's only one traffic light there. I guess she's talking about the intersection of 52 and College Hill. And then Tammy McIntosh from College Hill Road is concerned about the curve near Flatwoods Christian Church. She's also concerned about the additional traffic entering the main road at that location, the number of the homes, the development around the fairgrounds and the greenhouse, and how this will add to that development. Those were comments that came into the judge's office on their email line. Ms. Hall mentioned a petition that was handed to me when I walked in the door, so I've not really had time to look at it, but I will read to you, and then I'll pass it around and let you all look at it maybe if you want to. It just says, say no to the Madison County Fiscal Court and Planning and Zoning in their attempt to rezone the sites at College Hill and Fike Road. After hearing objections and concerns from the audience on August 16, 2022, Madison County Planning and Zoning voted to approve a land use change on College Hill. This will also impact Fike Road. Ordinance 2022-9, land use change College Hill Road from a C7R agriculture to UC1 single family residential. After this was approved by the Planning and Zoning, it went to the Madison County Fiscal Court for the first reading. First reading was approved on Tuesday, September 13th at 9:30 a.m. During the Fiscal Court meeting in Berea, this will go before the Fiscal Court for the final reading and vote. At this time, the audience will be allowed to state their concerns. Please feel free to join community members as we plan to speak. If you aren't able to attend this meeting, please sign our petition and complete your address. So I do have that. I'll pass that around to y'all if you want to take a look at it.
Bert, could you kind of talk a little bit about the process of, the comprehensive plan and, all the different components that go into that, where the law.
Yes, we're required to update our comprehensive plan every 5 years, and we did that last year. And part of that process was, obviously, we sent multiple surveys out to the community. We had public hearings. We had a steering committee made up of 14 or 15 community members. We had several meetings that went into the development of this plan. That plan was presented to the Planning Commission. They recommended to you all to approve it, and ultimately you did. But one of the major changes in that plan was the increasing of the footprint of the urban corridor. Previously, it was basically just north to south in the county. If you can imagine I-75, it runs from Fayette County to Rockcastle County, and then on either side of that interstate was what we called the urban corridor for many years. Well, we increased that or expanded that to go out 52 east towards Estill County because of the development and the widening of 52 and the sewer that's been added in that area. We also followed 52 west towards Paint Lick because we all know that area is growing with Duncannon and the rebuilding of 52 west going towards Paint Lick. So now it looks like kind of like a little plus sign across the county. You've got the north-south and you've got the east-west. Well, this property that we're talking about today was included in that new urban corridor. Ms. Hall's right. There is a small section up in the northeast corner of one of these tracks that's not. It's important to share that when the Planning Commission and Steering Committee redrew that boundary, they didn't take a pen and go parcel by parcel, right? Kind of a broad stroke. So it would be extremely time consuming to follow the outline of every parcel boundary in the county. There's thousands of parcels, right? So it's more of a broad stroke. So they kind of said, okay, here's 52, and here's kind of where we want that growth to occur. So it's more of a vision than a detailed laying out of which specific parcels are going to be in that corridor. So she's right about that. There is a small corner up there, but I think the overall intent was to make that area included in the plan. So,
but this vision goes beyond just 5 years, though. That vision was done for decades, right?
We're required to update it every 5 years, but during that process, we were thinking 10 years ahead. We were thinking 20 years ahead. Some population statistics were mentioned. You try to project those out and try to look at the areas of the county that is growing, that does have sewer, that does have infrastructure, and put that all into your thinking and your process.
Yeah. Okay.
So Bert, I have a question. When I look at the land use map from the comprehensive plan, you say that there's a small section. It's kind of bigger than a small section. When I look at the development itself, I kind of put a line in there. It looks to be maybe, 2/3 of this, yes, appears to be in that quote unquote broad stroke.
I don't think that's right. I think it's just a small corner. I don't know what map you're looking at there, but
I'm looking at the one that Mr. Olds gave me, and when I look at it, it appears to me to be about a okay. This.
So just this section right here is the parcel that goes like that.
Okay.
This is the boundary. So this section is the only part that's.
Okay.
This is not zoomed in. It's not very detailed.
Okay.
It's just a small corner.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Sure. Just give me just a minute, if you don't mind, please. Any other comments or questions from the magistrates? Any questions for Bert?
Bert, I've said in the past that I'm not totally agreeable with the concept that we have to go through, that I think we should know, I know it's a cost to the developer, but we should know the total plans of the development before we have to make a decision on it. You know, and until that changes, it's gonna be hard to make some of these decisions. I've always said that each tract of land should stand on its own merit. You know, if track across the road or somewhere else, I feel like fits what we need more, I'm gonna approve it. So each tract of land, in my opinion, stands on its own merit.
Yeah, my response to that would be, we know what we're getting. If you all approve this, we know what we're getting. We're getting a subdivision, we're getting single-family housing. We might not know how many, we may not know what they're gonna look like. There won't be trailers, there won't be single wides, there won't be double wides, those aren't permitted in single-family residential, there won't be apartment buildings. It'll be one of three density options, right? We have high density, we have medium density, and we have low density. You have 9,000 square foot lots, 12,000 square foot lots, or acre lots. So you know what you're getting, you just don't know how many yet. So, yeah, ideally, in a perfect world, you'd like to see the plan, right? But the cost that goes into that, developing those plans, engineers, surveyors, attorneys, just this process, the county's process to go through.
But I want to make sure that this is a process that everybody goes through, right? It's not just Madison County Fiscal Court decide to go through this process. Is this the same process?
This is the KRS process. It's spelled out.
It's
how we
spelled
have to do
out.
it. It's what you have to do to make to adopt your official.
Bria, when you were on planning commission,
Absolutely. When I was on P&Z in the city of Bria for many years, you know, we would have zone changes that would come before us, and after the zone change was either approved or not approved, it would go to the city council for their blessing or denial. So the process is the same.
I think
And
you might have
the
mentioned
same
this.
is true, you know, of the comprehensive plan, whether it's the city of Berea, the city of Richmond, or even Madison County. I mean, it is a 5-year plan, and it's an organic plan that one is continually looked at and updated from time to time.
And just
and
to add to
kind
that,
of the second phase to the comprehensive plan is also the regs, right?
We're working on those
Subdivision
right now.
regs and land use regs and.
Yeah. And another reason for that, for the way this process works is, you all might vote to rezone this today, you might not, whatever you end up doing, but that property might not be developed for 20 years. We have properties that have been rezoned in the county that have never been developed. This developer, this landowner may have a deal with the developer to do high-density housing, but when he figures out that it's gonna be too cost prohibitive to do the high density to run the sewer up there, that might change their deal. He might go find another developer that wants to develop it as acre lots. So you don't know that until you actually have a development plan. That's not what this process is. We just want to know whether it's acceptable for houses in a residential neighborhood.
I understand that, Bert, and you're doing your job, and I think you're doing well. But, you know, I think the KRS somewhere down the line needs to kind of work with this and make it a little more, where the citizens will know what's gonna take place before it happens, you know. But that's not on you.
Thank you. It's not.
I appreciate you.
But we don't know if they're gonna wait 20 years or.
No, we don't. I'm
2
not
days.
suggesting they're gonna do that. Please don't anybody take it that way. I assume that Mr. Renfro wants to sell his property, whether it's to this person that he's working with now or somebody in the future, or he wouldn't be trying to sell it, right? So
Right.
I'm not suggesting by any means that this property's not gonna be developed. But I don't know what that looks like yet.
All right, any other questions? Tom?
I think it's good for the members of the court to have an understanding of what what we are expecting in Madison County and the way of how 52 will be developed and what that might look like on the 6-year plan. And so, can you tell us what the plans are as you understand them to be for the development of 52 out toward Irving?
Yeah, we've been having some conversations with Transportation Cabinet for probably the past 2 or 3 years about getting 52 expansion in the 6-year road plan. And I think it was either last year or the year before that it's actually in that 6-year road plan, and it would be extending it from Charlie Norris, basically the way it is right now, from there into town, continuing on out. Of course, there's some concern with the state transportation guy about the cost of that project, and we've discussed it being phased, and, you know, I don't know where those points would be, you know, is where, you know, we'll call it phase 2. We'll say that what's already existing is phase 1. But how far that would go, but, you know, would it go to Muddy Creek, and then there'll be a third phase to Bybee, and, I'm not sure. But it is in the road plan. We talked about Speedville Road. There is that actually is gonna be getting done. They've already started moving utilities out there for widening Speedville Road because of App Harvest. So.
I asked that
We've also, I understand the traffic at 52 and the bypass, and I've had some conversations with Kelly Baker there about making some improvements there, even if they're temporary improvements to allow people to get through the light faster. You know, I feel like that off 52 turning left onto the bypass, you could have 2 lanes turning left there, which would speed that traffic up because you're going into 2 lanes. And so we're having those conversations to try to improve that. And there was a plan several years ago in the city of Richmond to redo that intersection, but it got pushed back for the way they were wanting to do it from city residents. And it was an expansion that went all the way up to what is it, the Ford garage, the Ford dealership, and is it Nissan or Honda? I can't remember which one it is there, but they were going to be redoing that because there's safety concerns of that intersection. But it got some pushback, I think, from some local folks, and so that kind of stalled that project. So
I asked that, Judge, simply for a reason, because I think to be in all fairness, and Bert, I was on the comprehensive plan committee, and we did look at things on how the county could grow and how the county should grow based on a lot of different factors. You know, US 25 south coming out of Richmond, there's subdivisions that are being built on it right now on a road that is as dangerous as a loaded gun, in my opinion. 25 is horrible. I mean, it just is. Why it's not 4-lane all the way from Richmond to Bridge just amazes me every single day. But yet, there are improvements coming to it, and there are, you know, there's a subdivision being built right off Continental Drive. There's about 200 houses that are going back in an area where you cannot get out on Dadburn 25. So, but I know that improvements are coming to that, and I know that was approved knowing that those things are coming. You know, I know that when you hear the residents come and express safety concerns, and I went out there and sat out there for an hour and a half one day last week from 7 o'clock to about 8:30. And I wanted to see for myself, because your magistrate, you know, talked to us about what things look like out there. And I want to tell you what I saw. In the hour and a half that I sat out there, I saw a 4-way intersection that is probably the best working one in Madison County. I didn't see any backups. From 52 down to that 4-way intersection, traffic getting onto that, I saw 14 cars at one time sitting at that stoplight. And I thought, that's a disaster. But I don't know what it is. I don't know what the state has done there. But when that light changed, all 14 of those vehicles made it through that stoplight. Now, what they did when they got to 52, I don't have any idea. But as far as for that portion of it, I mean, there was not, yeah, they sit there for a minute or 2 minutes, whatever it was, till the light changed, but then traffic flowed through there. And so you know, to some degree, I have to base it on what I saw. You know, sometimes we look at property. I drove every inch of that property, and what I couldn't drive on, I got out and walked on it. I went all over it. And I've seen places where that, I don't know how it'll be developed. I have no idea how that property will be developed. But I know from what that I saw that it's as good a property as places where homes are being built right now today. You know, is growth coming to Madison County? Growth's coming to Madison County. Do we like it? I don't know. That's just a point of view. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it, but we're not going to be able to stop it. Growth is coming to Madison County, whether we like it or not. So I think that we have to some degree, I want to have a personal opinion in this, but at the same time, I have a planning committee that provides guidance to us on what is based by the regulations on what we can do, what we can't do, and you know, it's a tough decision. Any way you look at it, it's just a tough decision. If you live there, I understand. I really do.
Raj?
My wife owns 2 little newspapers, and I'm paper boy on Wednesday. And I have to go to Powell County every Wednesday morning, 7:30, I leave Richmond. And when you get to, before you get to Mobley, traffic's backing up. But if the light's red at Mobley, when I'm driving with a strand of traffic waiting for that light to change, like they said, almost to the bridge down there. And it's that way every Wednesday morning. And there's traffic at every light, and even if there's not a light, you're not gonna run as fast as you want to, because it's just bumper to bumper. And it's coming out of Irvin and Waco and whatever, Bobby, all them places has to use that same road. I'm not disputing what the judge said or the others, but my phone call says that they told me that 52 is not in the 6-year road plan. But I had a gentleman call for me. I didn't call myself, but I called him, and he said, I'll find out, and he called me back. That's what he told me. That don't mean that they told him right either. But something needs done to that road if very much development's gonna be done. Not that this size development is gonna change things that much. I would not be for multifamily dwellings at all. I would be for single family dwellings if, you know, but that's 1 acre lots, you know, per house, you know. That's the only way that I would even see being for it.
I've sent a text to find out that question.
Okay.
So it was my understanding that it is. We've had numerous conversations about that roadway, and when 52 West got done, that's where we moved our #1 project to, was 52 East.
I think, Judge, when we met with the Transportation Department last year, they said it was within the 10-year. I don't think it met the 6-year plan.
Well, you rank them, though, through the Bluegrass ad. We score them. And that's a meeting that our road supervisor and I go and sit down with them, and we rank them. And depending on the importance of the project and how the rate of the project is rated, it gets a score, and it's looked at traffic and safety and growth, and there's all this criteria that it goes by. And then as judge executive, I have the opportunity to like boost it, so I can score it. If it's my #1, it'll get like 30 extra points. Bluegrass ad through the their little transportation committee, it goes through it too, because Bluegrass ad is made up of all 19 counties. So, but hopefully I'll get a response back from Kelly Baker there before the meeting, but because I know it's a pretty high priority, and it was actually a priority from the transportation cabinet 3 years ago. They brought it up to me, so. Any other questions for Bert? Any comments from court members? Any public comment? Any more public comment? I know Mr. Oles wants to speak again. Sure, come on up, Brandon. Yep.
Whenever Mr. Rhodes was talking earlier.
State your name and.
Oh, sorry. Brandon McIntosh. I live in Waco Heights, across the road from the proposed development. But when Mr. Rhodes was speaking earlier, he said that it would be economically disastrous for the developer to have to pay for the sewer. So does that mean if this passes that the taxpayers would have to pay for the sewer?
That's not the way that works. No, that cost would be borne by the developer, or, you know, he mentioned some other neighborhoods in the area, some other, the school, and, you know, it would not be the county that would do it. It would be the developer in conjunction with other entities, neighbors, schools in that area that would have to foot that cost. The taxpayer would not pay for that.
Okay.
That's typically the way it's done. I mean, it's just like, you know, just like building the road. I mean, the county's not gonna build the road. They might take it over one day, but the developer's responsible for footing the bill for all that.
Okay.
I've never known any kind of utility that,
Yeah. Unless it's some kind of cost sharing with, like I said, other people in the area.
Watch out.
If Waco Heights wanted to get on it and everybody, you know, everybody in the neighborhood decided they wanted to share in the cost of running that up there with the developer, I'm sure he'd be willing to talk to you, but it would be more of an arrangement like that than a county operation.
Well, that's why I didn't understand his comment about that. Maybe my misunderstanding.
Well, I think they're still vetting whether or not the cost of the property versus the cost of developing the lots. If the cost of developing the lots is too high because they have to run sewer up there, then the project becomes financially not feasible, and they have to redesign it. I think that's what, I don't want to put words in Mr. Old's mouth, but I'll let him address that, but I assume that's what he was talking about.
And the sanitation district is Northern Sanitation District. It's its own district, just like Madison County Utilities or, Richmond Utilities. And so the fiscal court does appoint board members to the Northern Sanitation District, but they're their own governing body. And the only thing that I would ever say that, so to answer your question, Brandon, taxpayer dollars is not going towards that. They operate off the customers that they serve, right, in the sewer bills that are already being paid. The only time that I've ever seen kind of a joint thing is if, let's say that was going to require a pump station, and sanitation district might want to increase the size of that pump station for future growth, and so they would pay a portion of the cost of the extra cost of a bigger pump station, but the developer would still have to pay for his portion of it, what he would have ultimately done. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Hall, come back up.
Along those same lines, so does that mean if the houses that go from the four-way stop up to where this potential development is, does that mean if the landowners don't want to, because I've heard this happen in the past down to some, don't want to be on it, are they forced to be on it and they have to pay? I know last time when people were doing it, it was thousands of dollars for homeowners. Are they gonna be forced to be on it just so that development can get its little pump station and become small? That's my concern too. Are people who are already strapped, and we all know how hard times are right now, financially, forced to be paid to be on a sewer plan that they don't want to be on because it's better for the developer?
So I don't agree with forcing somebody to get on sewer. I'll say that first and foremost. I'm not 100% sure what the rules are, if there's laws out there. Elliot Turner and them know how I feel about as judge executive about forcing somebody. The most recent one we've done was Boone Village. Of course, Boone Village is an older subdivision. It was never built on acre lots, and so the septic systems fail. When I first came into office, I said, hey, if we're going to do this in Boone Village, we're going to get the community support in that development. And if we're going to do it, we got to have a majority of the support of the people that want it. In that situation, I don't know. Jenny, I don't know if you've ever dealt with that as far as if you're forced to tap on, if it's a PSC. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I just remember I worked with people that were on it down at the Estonia Estates, and it was very expensive. I remember some people I worked with saying, oh my goodness, and we have to do this, And I'm like you, I don't believe people ought to be forced to put on that, especially when you have a septic tank and it's working perfectly fine.
Yep.
Why should you help a developer make more money? You shouldn't you shouldn't be forced to do that.
Yeah.
So that was my concern. Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Olds?
Thank you, Judge, and I won't take too long, just a few comments. And first, I hope you all had a chance to go out to this property and see how you get there. That's the best determiner of what we've got getting there. But traffic counts and accident counts speak for themselves. I understand the people's concerns, but based upon what we've gotten, there's less traffic and less accidents on this road than most of the rural roads in the county. Also want to point out that the S-curve, which I've heard mentioned several times, is past this development. Do not have to go through that to get there. And I think last, I heard several comments. Mr. McKinney made a comment that his farm backed up to this, and Mr. McKinney's a friend of mine. Well, one of the things we can't do by zoning is say, I live adjacent to this property, it's a farm, I like looking at the farm, I like that Mr. Renfro keeps it mowed and trimmed and neat, et cetera. So by zoning, we ought to make him keep it a farm. I used the example when I was at the planning commission. I live in town in Richmond and on smaller lots. And right behind me, there's a 10-acre parcel, 12-acre parcel of land that has one house on it. And I like it because my house backs up to it. But I don't get to tell those folks that own that property, hey, you can't build anything else on that property because I like looking at your 10 or 12 acres with the trees on it, okay? That's just not the purpose of zoning. Zoning, the purpose of it is to decide, is it appropriate to have residences in this area? Do we need residences in this area? And we do. Also don't get to control the size of the house that's built and those kind of things by zoning. That's just not something that zoning or the neighbors get to have a say in, okay? Developer's gonna develop a nice subdivision. Waco Heights was a good addition to this area, and we sure hope to do something that is also in a good, neat, orderly addition to the area. That's all I'll say. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. All right, any other comments? All right, well, you do have a motion and a second. Is there any last comments from court members? We do have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2022-09. And this is be a a land use change, College Hill Road from C7 to C7 R7 agricultural to UC1 single family residential.
Right.
All right, no more discussion. Call the roll.
Master Robinson,
No.
Master Barger,
No.
Master Tudor,
No.
Master Botkin,
Based on recommendation from Planning and Zoning, based on my participation in the Comprehensive Plan Committee, and based on whether or not I would like to have a house there if I had the opportunity, I would vote yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
All right, so now this isn't over because we've just made a motion and a second based off of the recommendation with the findings of fact for the approval. So now I would have to have a motion on the denial with findings of fact by one of the members of the court.
I'll make that motion.
What are your findings of fact?
Based on the state police report I shared with you earlier and the traffic count, I just don't feel like it's a safe area to develop at this point.
Okay. So I have a motion to deny this zone change, which is second reading of ordinance 2022-09, land use change, College Hill Road from C7 to R7 agricultural to UC1 single family residential. And we're denying it based off of the traffic counts,
And the accident report from
the accident report from state police. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I have I guess a legal point to ask. When, no different than when Mr. Renfro and his, attorney are here, they have to state a finding of fact that is within KRS, and there are numerous, well, not numerous, but there are 3 to 4 different, statements that they can make as far as comprehensive plan, as far as this has changed economically or whatever the case may be. Is from a legal perspective, county attorney, can we as a fiscal court deny it when it's not part of, the KRS requirements to approve it?
So I'm not sure I understand your question clearly enough, but are you asking, do you have the right to overturn the planning and zoning's findings of fact?
No, I'm not questioning that. I'm questioning the reason for denial. Does the reason for denial have to be within the same, KRS requirements for approval? Or findings of facts, I should say. So, for example, they stated that in their finding of facts that it was part of the comprehensive plan, and there's socioeconomic development, the changes in that particular area and those kinds of things. Can a denial be given on something other than what an approval has, if that makes sense?
So can the denial be based on something other than what the planning and zoning said was the reason for approval?
That's right.
So that would be a circuit court decision, because
Okay.
it's going to be a judicial interpretation of the issue. I would say legally, we have a comprehensive plan, and the recommendation would be that, there's, the fiscal court's kind of tasked with, you should do what the law states that you should do within that as you agreed to pass it. However, I cannot tell anybody how they have to vote on it and the basis for their votes. So if everybody has a different reason for why that motion to overturn needs to be, I would say it needs to be clarified on the record. But of course, Mr. Olds is well aware, along with Mr. Renfro, that that will be a decision that will then be appealed to circuit court.
Understood.
All right, so I have a motion and I have a second to deny this zone change based off of traffic and accidents that have happened on College Hill Road and in the area. So, any more discussion? All right, hearing none, call the roll.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Botkin,
No.
Master Robinson,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
No. All right, thank you all very much. Appreciate everybody being here. You all are more than welcome to stay for the whole fiscal court meeting. But at the same time, I know people are probably busy, and would like to get to wherever else you want to go to. So, I'll pause for just a minute for those that would like to slip out. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Well, there won't be nobody left.
The second vote was the opposite.
All right, next is Resolution 2022-112, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet FY 23 Flex Funds.
Good morning.
Good morning, Scott.
Resolution 2022-112, a resolution adopting and approving the execution of a rural secondary program agreement between the Fiscal Court and the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Department of Rural and Municipal Aid, and accepting all roads and streets referred to therein as being a part of the county road system. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby certify that all roads and streets referred to in said agreement are county roads and defined in KRS 178.010(1)B, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby ratify and adopt all statements, representations, warranties, covenants, and agreements contained in said agreement, and does hereby accept said agreement, and by such acceptance agrees to all the terms and conditions thereinto stated, and whereas the county judge executive of the county is hereby authorized and directed to sign said agreement as set forth on behalf of the Fiscal Court of Madison County, and the county clerk of Madison County is hereby authorized and directed to certify thereto. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby adopt this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Scott. Y'all have heard Resolution 2022-112. At this time, I need a motion and a second.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-112.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I do want to let the court know that when we always approve our flex funds in the spring, if y'all remember, and this past year they estimate what our flex funds amount was going to be, and I think it was like $297,000. Of course, you'll see in here it's $312, so it's increased a little bit, and that's based off the fuels tax. Obviously, the fuel price is going up. And so we kept our request at $297. That doesn't mean we miss out on the 14. It does get to carry over. But sometimes we've run into the past, Scott, that we've gotten down to what we say we're going to do, and it ends up taking a little bit extra, more blacktop, or there's a little extra cost, and so it can be up or down based on when the Allen Company gets done. And so we just left it at $297, okay? We don't lose this money, but it'll help us, give us a little bit of extra if we need it, or we'll roll it in and do some more blacktop maybe in the spring, okay? I just didn't want you going back and seeing other documents and seeing $297, and then this, it's $312.
Thanks for
So you
explaining that.
understand
Yeah.
why. All right. We have a motion and a second. If no more discussion, call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Berger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Next is Resolution 2022-113, amend 2022-2023 employee classification schedule. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning.
Is this
A
good
res-
morning? Yeah, it is. Good morning.
A resolution to amend the 2022-2023 employee classification schedule. This resolution supersedes Resolution 2022-74. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has established an employee classification schedule and years of service for the benefit of all employees of the Fiscal Court to ensure fair and consistent wages for all job classifications. And whereas continued difficulties of recruitment remain present in the road department, which requires a modification to the current employee classification schedule. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court wishes to adopt the amended 2022-2023 employee classification schedule, which is attached here to this resolution, to become effective September 13th, 2022. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution to supersede Resolution 2022-74 and adopt the amended 2022-2023 employee classification schedule.
All right, thank you, Morgan. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2022-113?
So moved, Judge.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I think, Judge, that this is a good idea. Scott, how many people are you down? So we're down a lot of people down in the road department, and this is a way that we entice, hopefully, and bring on new employees. However, I just want to say this, and this is a separate subject from this road department. I want to be cautious and careful when we change the classification schedule, because that is a debt that we pay from now on. We don't go back and undo it. We're paying that bill from now on. So let's be cautious when we are adjusting the classification schedule. And I know times are what they are, and we have to do what we have to do, but that's just something that we should consider.
Well, this is too, just Tom, make sure you understand, make sure even I understand, maybe I've got it wrong, but this is actually adding a general laborer position only. So it's not about really changing the pay, it's us adding a I guess, classification of an actual position, because we did not have that before, and so we didn't really have a way to hire just general labor. If you were a general laborer, you had to be a CDL trainee, and so there was a job description along with that made them have to get their CDL within, I don't know, 6 months or something like that, I think. And so I don't think if we were just doing pay right now that you would be seeing this right now, because I 100% agree with what you're saying. You don't set the temperature of changing pays just when you have to, right? We do that once a year when we update before the new fiscal year. But what we're finding out is we can't get people CDL. Plus the CDL laws now require us they have to go to like a 4-week school, costs us a big bunch of money.
$5,000 per person.
There you go, $5,000 per person. And so what we're fearful of is if we try to do a CDL trainee and we send them through that school, what are they going to do? They're going to come work for us for a little while, and then and making $16 an hour, and then all of a sudden they've got their CDL and they're gonna jump ship, go work for a trucking company or what have you. So this is actually adding a position specific for just general labor.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So that's good. We're getting sidetracked here just a little bit, but since you brought it up, you know, the issue of hiring people and training to a CDL, there should be some circumstances where that we could require a year's worth of labor from them before they can leave. Other places have similar things to that, and that's something we could consider when we're making that kind of investment in a person.
Right. And we've been having some of those discussions just to let the court aware.
Yeah, Scott and I have been researching what other counties or cities are doing to accommodate the new cost of sending someone to get a CDL if they're committing to 2-year contracts, and what that process looks like if someone leaves. How do you get that money back? That sort of thing. So we are exploring that as well.
And if Brandon were here, Brandon McIntosh, he was in the crowd. He's the transportation cabinet, our local county supervisor. Well, you all know that. But I think they've been sending some of theirs through the state to that school when they're coming back after they're getting their license, and they're already moving on to obviously a higher paying job. So it is an issue, but we are looking at it and what we could do.
I think maybe contract them to a year retaining, or pay back the $5,000 they have to pay, we have to pay for going to school. I mean, well, I don't know. It's something else we're putting on you. No, I'm just joking. Not gonna do that, Scott.
But this general labor, I think, will help us because there's plenty of jobs that we have to do on a daily basis in the road department that don't necessarily require a CDL, you know, so this gives us a little bit of flexibility, I guess, in trying to recruit employees.
I think it'll alleviate some of, I think that we've been having to pull from our garage a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it'll alleviate some of that so they can actually focus on their daily task instead of having to go out and be on site with the rest of our road crew just because we need a body at this point.
Yeah. And last year was our first year we did the seasonal CDL, where we recruited people just during the snow season, and that seemed to work last year. Of course, we're trying that again this year, and so hopefully we'll continue when we truly need CDLs is mainly in a snow event because we have so many miles of road that we have to try to clear salt. So, all right, good conversation, good discussion. We do have a motion and a second. Anything else? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Botkin,
Yes.
Master Ed Robinson,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. All right, next is Resolution 2022-114, EMA CSEP Tower Site Surveillance Equipment Bid Award. Good morning, Dustin.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Resolution 2022-114, resolution awarding a bid for the Emergency Management Agency EMA Chemical Stockpile Emergency Preparedness Program CSEP Communication Tower Site Surveillance Equipment. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is required to approve of all bids for projects in accordance with the Administrative Code, and whereas the Madison County EMA CSEP requested bids for tower site surveillance equipment, and whereas the bid notice was properly posted, and whereas 2 sealed bids were received within the specific time in the bid posting, and whereas the Madison County EMA CSEP wishes to award the bid and enter into a contract for tower site surveillance equipment to Compass Security Solutions. Now therefore it be resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the Judge Executive and/or his designee to execute the same on behalf of the county.
All right, thank you, Dustin. Resolution 2022-114. Do I have a motion and a second?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So I've got a couple of questions. Dustin, in the scope of work in what was labeled as paragraph 7A, paragraph 1.2 says that the respondent is not responsible for the installation on the towers. Why was that?
So most of these organizations that we were looking for the infrastructure of the security camera system are not tower climbers. They aren't certified, so that would have reduced who could have bid on this tremendously. So we have organizations that we utilize already for our tower site inspections and some other work. And matter of fact, we have work getting ready to go up that, so we're going to coordinate that event, and it actually potentially will save us some time.
Justin, do you have any estimate on what extended costs or extra costs that would cost for, hiring a separate crew to install?
So I'd have to use our tower site inspection climbing, which is about between 9 and 10 grand a year, and that does all 9 of our towers. So that's what would be roughly the number. Again, without having a quote right in front of me, but we have particular groups that we know are certified in this and can get on our towers, do it safely, and keep the structure safe as well. So that's why we want to utilize that group to do that work.
If you feel safely to do that, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Yeah.
Also had a question. There was some reference in their document for maintenance and preventative maintenance, but in their cost estimate, we didn't choose, or they didn't recommend or provide that. So my question, I guess, is who will do the preventative maintenance and maintenance on those systems?
Yeah, so our plan is to wrap up all the maintenance for all the equipment and infrastructure at our tower sites into one maintenance agreement. And as we complete the installation of the radio system, we will be wrapping that into a maintenance agreement, and that's where that'll take place. So that's why we chose not to do their maintenance through the program. Additionally, they're not climbers, so some of that maintenance has to be done up on a tower. So we need somebody who can maintain it that can do that as well.
All right. Chris, I guess my next question probably comes to you. There was, in this particular one, in the cost from Compass, they recommended 10 terabyte hard drives. No, I'm sorry, 10 terabyte hard drives. They recommended 36 of them.
Yes, please go to the microphone, sir.
The second company that we got an estimate from was recommending 12 terabyte hard drives.
Yeah, I think that was documented in the extensive detail I provided behind it, because this is not the low bid that you're awarding to, so I felt like there was an extensive need to explain the proposition. There's a lot of questions in that, I think it's Sky High Communications. A lot of inconsistencies and things that don't match with what we see. It says it's a 12 terabyte NVR for only $900, and then there's a line item to add additional hard drives. None of that kind of lines up with what we need. What was in that scope of work was to provide the maximum amount of terabytes available per device going in the tower site, so that way that you have the most recording capability for the longest period of time at each site. So the Sky High Communication, I appreciate that they bid, but there's a lot of inconsistencies in there that didn't match up with the data that we have, and it didn't really answer the questions that we needed. So it really kind of scares us a little bit.
So will these hard drives be at the sites, or will they be remote?
No. So every tower site will have its own network video recorder.
Right.
Those individual network video recorders attach back to the county's existing camera management system, so that it's all viewable from one system.
And those are in the huts.
They're actually in the commo shelters at every tower, yes.
Okay, so I'm just curious, why do we need 36? We have 9 sites.
You bought spares, right? There's
There
spares in there.
was,
So there's 9 sites, and part of the radio project, and they do this a lot with the radio project. Sorry, Dustin, when you're ready, just kick me out of the way. You run into issues in a radio system, and same in this security camera system. We're going to get 2 years down the road, that model that we have bought is no longer going to be the correct model to purchase. You're not going to be able to purchase it, whatever it may be. So what CSEP does is they buy those spares to put on the shelf, so that when those devices do fail, you have the exact same piece of equipment to put back on there. So same thing with the hard drives, same thing with the NVRs, the cameras. I believe we bought 3 extra to put on top of that. So that's why you see a little bit of an inconsistency with the 9 and 12.
One last question, I'll leave you alone on this. We have 25 cameras listed, 25 active cameras, 7 spares, 32 total, but there's only a purchase for 29 SD cards.
So there's no spares I guess there's no SD cards in the spares. Would be
I'm just curious why we didn't have the same number of SD cards as they had as cameras, 32 instead of 29.
That's something that's readily available at your local store. So we didn't feel the need to have spares, and that it's not something that is these cameras, as Chris already said, and some of the hardware, if you don't have the same model number and all that, it may not jive. So those are important for that. The SD cards we can pick up at a local grocery store or local shopping mart.
The other thing that just, as in general, this is a good company, this is a good contract, from what I've saw from it, but I'm a little bit disappointed that they did not break down the cost. They lumped the cost of their goods. So,
Yeah, and I actually, I dinged them in the scoring record for that, if you see that document.
I did see
for
that.
not providing that, because Sky High Communications provided each line item.
yes.
So if I would have had that on both, that gives you a better, idea of kind of comparing apples to apples. So I did make mention of that to them, that the next time they did make sure that equipment is provided, line item. One thing that I don't think is noted in there is with the Compass Security, because they are the registered deal provider with Vivotech, it comes with a 5-year warranty as well. So all the equipment going up on the tower, obviously, when it's not an act of God or whatever that rule is, they will replace that. And the county has actually utilized that a few times with some of our cameras that are unoperational. You just make a claim back, they send us a brand new one for 5 years. So,
Good.
and they're not cheap, so it's a good utility to have at our disposal.
Thank you.
Magistrate Bach, and the other thing we can do about the line item is we can make sure that the contract has it line itemed out.
You'll be bringing that contract back to us for approval to sign? No, or this is
not to
giving
the
us
fiscal
approval?
court. This will be
Okay.
the approval, and judge, then you will have the approval to sign that.
Okay. Are any other comments?
I got a question about the scoring, Chris. So when I look at the scoring, prior Madison County experience is worth 50 points, which is kind of a big deal. And when you look at the two scores, I mean, obviously they got a 0. Sky High did, because they've done no prior work. Is that, are you comfortable with 50 points with somebody having prior experience,
Yeah,
working with the
100%.
county? 100%? Okay.
Yeah, because Compass Security is the one that we use. They were the ones that just completed the jail renovation as well. They put in 175 cameras there, 2 NVRs. We just did a project with the county as well. So we have extensive experience with Compass Security. This is the one I'm actually most comfortable with. I'd be frankly just scared to use the other company for
Okay.
lack of experience.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? We do have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2022-114. Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, resolution 2022-115, Kentucky Employees 457 and 401K Deferred Compensation Plan joinder agreement?
Yeah.
Was that what it's supposed to say, joinder?
Yeah, I had to look it up. It's a
Okay.
It's joinder.
All right.
It just means like joinder.
It's a lawyer word, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay, a resolution to adopt and enter into a joinder agreement with the Kentucky Public Employees Deferred Compensation Authority, whereas the General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Kentucky has enacted sections 18A.230-18A.275 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes, authorizing the creation of the Kentucky Public Employees Deferred Compensation Authority Board of Trustees and the establishment of the Kentucky Public Employees Deferred Compensation Authority, KDC. And whereas the Commonwealth by KDC sponsors the Kentucky Employees 457 Deferred Compensation Plan and the Kentucky Public Employees 401K Deferred Compensation Plan, which includes KDC's deemed IRA program, the plans for adoption by local governmental political subdivisions and units, and whereas governmental unit wishes to adopt and enter that certain joinder agreement attached hereto dated September 13th, 2022, now therefore be it resolved, the Madison County Fiscal Court of Governmental Unit, Commonwealth of Kentucky hereby enters and adopts the joinder agreement with KDC for participation in the 457 plan and the 401K plan for the benefits of its eligible employees, and further resolve that Judge Executive Reagan Taylor be and hereby is authorized and directed by governmental unit to execute the joinder agreement with KDC, which authorizes KDC to administer the plans on behalf of governmental unit and do all further acts and things, and to execute all further documents in writing, which the authorized signatory determines to be necessary or desirable in order to effect this resolution. Therefore, be it further resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and/or his designee to execute same on behalf of the county. Ooh.
Motion to approve resolution 2022-115, Judge.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I had to make a couple phone calls on this, because when I first read this, I thought we, as a CRS had just separated from the other units, and it's like, why in the world are we going back to combining all this back together? Not realizing that the 457 and 401 were in addition to those retirement plans. So Glenna, thank you very much for helping me get a good grip on that, and,
Yeah, we're currently doing this. Our employees are, some of
Yep.
them are currently voluntarily participating in this, so.
yeah.
I think there's a new statute that requires them.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good thing.
yeah, that's
Thank you.
good.
I need
All
to
right.
ask you a couple of questions. I will bring them down after, make sure we're good.
All right. Any other comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, Morgan. Appreciate it. Next up is personnel. It's planning and development. Bert?
So we have an opening in our code enforcement officer position. This is Vernon Hubbs Jr. He's already proved to be quite the trooper to come to a meeting like today for his,
See through
first
all of it,
meeting, but
yeah.
that shows resolve right there, so that's what we like to see, right? But like I said, this is a full-time position for code enforcement officer. Interview committee was myself, Wendy Litch, and Scott Shepard. This is a proposed salary of $15 an hour to start, and a start date of 9/14/2022.
All right, thank you, Bert. Upon Bert's recommendation, do I have a motion and a second?
So moved. That's how we are,
Have a
Mr.
motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Bert. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Next,
Bert.
personnel in the road department. Scott?
I'd like to recommend hire Charles Barger, general labor, full-time, $14 an hour, start date 9/14/2022.
All right, upon Scott's recommendation, do I have a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is Charles with you today?
He's not.
Okay.
We do know this gentleman. He volunteers quite a bit at the animal shelter, and got some real good references
You know
about
his
him.
work ethic, so we're good. All right.
All right. Call the roll.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Next is personnel and custodial. Morgan?
Hi, I'm presenting on behalf of Donna Abner, our custodial supervisor, and I am recommending the hire of Serena Fry as a custodial one. She's going to be full-time at a proposed salary of $13 an hour with a start date of 9/14/2022. The panel consisted of Donna Abner, myself, and Tracy Farthing, who is a part of our custodial team.
What was the name again?
Serena Fry.
Okay, that's what I got.
All right. Upon Morgan's recommendation for a new custodial position, well, not a new position, but a new hire for a position, do I have a motion and a second?
Make a motion to hire Serena Fryer. I'm sorry, I'll
Fry.
get it right in a minute. Custodian one position, starting, salary at $13 an hour. Starting date is 9/14/2022.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you, Morgan. Appreciate it. Next is executive session. I need a motion and a second to go into executive session for the discussion of purchase of property. According to KRS 61.810, we can do so.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Master Robinson?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Are y'all leaving or we leaving?
No, we'll go in here.